The Valerian Collective's Deep Space Monitoring Station, Outpost 7, had never registered anything like it before. The vessel that appeared at the edge of their sensor range defied their understanding of physics. Its hull seemed to bend light itself, and its energy signature pulsed in patterns that made their most advanced quantum computers stutter in confusion. "Unknown vessel detected in Sector 87 Delta," announced Senior Observer Zura, her crystalline form shifting from its usual calm blue to an agitated purple. "Configuration matches no known species in our database." First Commander Thila's tendrils twisted in concern as she studied the holographic display. The Valerian Collective had encountered 47 spacefaring species in their 10,000 years of exploration. Each first contact had followed the same predictable pattern. Primitive vessels stumbling into collective space, their crews awestruck by the Valerians' technological superiority. This vessel was different. It moved with deliberate precision, its trajectory suggesting not just intelligence but strategic awareness. Most concerning of all, it seemed to be analyzing their defense systems with casual ease. "Initiate first contact protocols," Thila ordered, her voice steady despite her growing unease. "Send the standard greeting package." The response came almost instantly, far too quickly for any normal translation system to have processed their complex language matrices. The alien vessel transmitted in perfect Valerian standard. "Greetings, Outpost 7. This is the Earth Exploration Vessel Horizon. We come seeking peaceful exchange of knowledge and culture." Thila's tendrils went rigid. "Impossible. Our language encryption." "Commander," interrupted Zura, her crystalline surface now pulsing with urgent patterns, "they're not just speaking our language. They've already mapped our entire communication network. They're correcting errors in our quantum encoding we didn't even know existed." The Horizon's next transmission carried a hint of gentle amusement. "We apologize if our capabilities cause concern. Humanity has learned that the best way to ensure peaceful first contact is to demonstrate clear communication and transparent intentions from the start." Thila fought to maintain her composure. Everything about this encounter violated established first contact patterns. The vessel's technological sophistication suggested a civilization far more advanced than the Collective, yet their database showed no evidence of such a civilization's existence. "Security status," she demanded. "That's complicated," replied Defense Officer Karn, his tentacles twitching nervously. "Their defensive systems are active but configured in a way we've never seen. They appear to be designed primarily to protect rather than attack." And he hesitated. "They've already shared detailed schematics of these systems with us." "They what?" "The humans say it's a gesture of trust. They want us to understand they mean no harm." Karn's display showed intricate technical diagrams that made Thila's head spin. "Commander, these designs, they're generations beyond our best theories. They're freely giving us technology that could revolutionize our entire defense doctrine." Thila stared at the mysterious vessel, her training warring with her curiosity. Every protocol demanded she treat this situation as a potential threat, but something about the humans' approach fascinated her. They weren't simply powerful. They were trying to be understood. "Commander," Zyra called out, her voice filled with wonder. "They're requesting permission to send a small delegation. They say they have gifts, art, music, scientific insights. They want to learn about our culture in return." Thila made her decision. Grant permission, but maintain all security protocols. She paused, then added, "And prepare our cultural exchange materials as well." As the human shuttle approached their docking bay, Thila reflected that in all the Collective's history of first contacts, this was the first time they found themselves in the position of the less advanced civilization. Yet somehow, the humans had managed to make this fact feel not threatening, but thrilling. The shuttle's design was elegant in its simplicity, its hull composed of materials that seemed to flow like liquid metal. As it docked, Thila realized humanity had achieved something remarkable. They had mastered the art of appearing powerful without seeming dangerous. The airlock cycled, And Thela prepared to meet these beings who had so casually appended everything she thought she knew about first contact protocols. Whatever came next, she suspected the Valerian Collective was about to enter a new era of discovery, not as teachers this time, but as students. She just hoped they were ready for what humanity had to teach them. The grand chamber of the Valerian Collective buzzed with nervous energy as representatives from 12 member species gathered for an emergency session. High Counselor Vex, their crystalline form shimmering with barely contained agitation, called the meeting to order. The holographic display in the chamber's center showed the human vessel Horizon, still serenely orbiting Outpost 7. Smaller displays tracked the unprecedented changes already rippling through collective society from just 3 days of contact with humanity. The humans have shared advances in quantum computing that solve problems we thought impossible, reported Science Minister Krill, their bioluminescent patterns flashing with excitement. Their grasp of physics makes our best theories look primitive. Yet they discuss these concepts with our researchers as equals, encouraging questions, fostering collaboration. That's precisely what concerns me, interrupted Security Director Mara, her scaled armor clicking as she moved. No advanced species simply gives away such technology. These humans must have an ulterior motive. Ambassador Chen of Earth, who had been quietly observing from a specially prepared environmental chamber, spoke up. Her voice came through the translation matrix with perfect clarity. If I may address this concern. She waited for High Counselor Vex's acknowledgement before continuing. Humanity learned long ago that technological disparity breeds fear, and fear breeds conflict. By sharing our advances openly, we hope to build trust and understanding. Yes, we maintain certain technological advantages. Any species would, but we believe the fastest path to meaningful alliance is to help our potential friends grow stronger alongside us. The chamber erupted in overlapping conversations. The concept seemed to violate every rule of interstellar politics the collective had known. Species were supposed to guard their advantages jealously, using them as leverage in negotiations. And what do you want in return? Mara demanded. Chen smiled. Knowledge, culture, art. Despite our technological achievements, humanity remains endlessly curious. Your species have histories spanning millennia, philosophical traditions we've never encountered, artistic expressions that could enrich our understanding of the universe. We consider these equally valuable exchanges. The display shifted to show various human cultural exchanges already underway. Collective scientists working side by side with human engineers, artists from both civilizations collaborating on new forms of expression, philosophers engaged in deep discussions about the nature of consciousness and reality. There's something else, Krill added, their bioluminescence pulsing thoughtfully. The human's technology. It's not just advanced, it's different. They approach problems from angles we never considered. Their solutions often seem to defy conventional logic, yet they work better than anything we've developed. Chen nodded. Earth's challenging environment and our species' unusual evolution led us to explore unconventional approaches. We learned that the most elegant solution isn't always the most obvious one. Speaking of Earth, Vex interjected, our probes show it's what we classify as a death world. How did a species evolve intelligence in such hostile conditions? Adversity breeds innovation, Chen replied. Every challenge Earth presented pushed us to adapt, to think creatively, to develop technologies that could withstand extreme conditions. When we reached for the stars, we carried those lessons with us. The chamber grew quiet as the implications sank in. The humans hadn't just survived on a death world. They had thrived, turning harsh conditions into advantages, developing technologies that seemed to break the rules because they'd never accepted those rules as limitations. There's a human saying, Chen continued into the silence. A rising tide lifts all boats. We believe that by helping the collective advance, we create stronger potential allies and trading partners. Yes, we maintain certain advantages, but we found that true strength comes not from hoarding knowledge, but from sharing it wisely. Merritt's scales shifted color as she considered this. Your ships still possess capabilities far beyond what you've shared with us. Of course, Chen agreed easily. Just as I'm sure the collective has technologies and knowledge you haven't shared with us yet. Trust builds gradually. We've shared what we believe will most benefit immediate cooperation and demonstrated enough of our capabilities to ensure mutual respect. The rest can come with time, as we learn to understand each other better. High Counselor Vex's crystalline form pulsed with decision patterns. The collective must discuss your proposals in private, Ambassador. But I believe I speak for many when I say you've given us much to think about. As the session adjourned, the representatives broke into small groups, their agitated discussions filling the chamber. The humans had challenged not just their technological assumptions, but their fundamental ideas about how advanced civilizations should behave. Some found it threatening, others exhilarating, but all recognized that the galaxy had changed. The only question was whether the collective was ready to change with it. Ambassador Chen watched the discussions with quiet satisfaction. Humanity had learned through long, often painful experience that the most powerful position in any negotiation was one where you could afford to be generous. Their technological advantages weren't weapons to be wielded, but bridges to be built. Some in the collective would understand this quickly, others would take time. But Chen was patient. After all, humanity had waited a long time to find intelligent life among the stars. They could wait a little longer to build the right relationships. The warning came from an unexpected source. Security Director Mera burst into Ambassador Chen's quarters, her scales flickering between warning colors. A faction of our military has gone rogue. They're planning to attack your vessels. They think if they can prove humans aren't invincible, the collective will reject the alliance. Chen's response surprised Mara. Instead of panic or anger, the human ambassador calmly activated her communications device. Horizon, Protocol Sigma. Defensive measures only. No casualties. She turned to Mara with a gentle smile. Thank you for the warning. Would you like to observe how humans handle such situations? Before Mara could respond, the chamber's holographic display activated, showing tactical readings. 12 collective warships had dropped out of hyperspace, surrounding the horizon and its support vessels. Their energy signatures indicated weapons primed for maximum damage. Shouldn't you be worried? Mara asked, her scales now pulsing with confusion. Those are our most advanced warships. Watch, Chen replied softly. The rogue ships launched their first salvo, enough firepower to shatter a small moon. The horizon didn't evade. Instead, the space around it seemed to fold, the energy weapons disappearing into invisible pockets of warped spacetime, emerging harmlessly behind the human vessel. Impossible, Mara whispered. You bent space itself. A simple application of quantum field manipulation, Chen explained. Rather destructive when used offensively, but quite elegant as a defensive measure. The rogue ships launched their second attack, a swarm of autonomous combat drones. The horizon responded by releasing what looked like a fine mist of silver particles. The particles surrounded each drone, and one by one, the drones simply powered down, floating harmlessly in space. Nanite defense swarm, Chen noted, as if discussing the weather. They temporarily disable hostile electronics without causing permanent damage. We find it more efficient than destruction. The rogue commanders, growing desperate, ordered their ships to prepare for ramming speed. Surely, they thought, even the humans couldn't stop 12 capital ships at full acceleration. The horizon's response was subtle, almost beautiful. Rings of soft blue light expanded from its hull, passing through the attacking ships. As each ring made contact, the ship's engines cut out, their momentum bleeding away as if space itself had become thick as honey. Localized temporal manipulation, Chen explained to the awestruck Mara. We're essentially giving their ship's mass a slight temporal offset, allowing us to control their kinetic energy. It's gentler than a tractor beam. Within 10 minutes of the attack beginning, all 12 warships hung motionless in space, their crews unharmed but their ships completely neutralized. The Horizon hadn't fired a single shot. You could have destroyed them all. Mara realized, her scales shifting to show deep thought. Your weapons must be irrelevant. Chen interrupted gently. The measure of a civilization isn't its capacity for destruction, but its preference for peace. We could have responded with overwhelming force. Instead, we chose to demonstrate something more important: restraint. The chamber's communicator chimed. High Counselor Vex's voice came through, tight with concern. Ambassador, we just received word of the attack. We're preparing our defense fleet to protect your vessels. That won't be necessary, Counselor, Chen replied. The situation has been resolved. The rogue ships have been disabled without casualties. We're transmitting their coordinates for retrieval, along with tactical data showing they acted without official authorization. We recommend leniency in their sentencing. Fear often drives beings to rash action. Silence filled the channel for a long moment. When Vex spoke again, their tone had changed completely. You had every right to destroy those ships. Under collective law, their actions warranted immediate termination. Perhaps, Chen agreed. But what would that have proven? That we're capable of destruction. Any species can destroy. We prefer to show there's another way. Mara watched the disabled ships on the tactical display, her security training warring with this new perspective. Your technology, your capabilities, they're so far beyond ours. Yet you share knowledge freely, respond to attack with minimal force, offer mercy to enemies. Because true power isn't about domination, Chen explained. It's about having the strength to choose peace, even when war is justified. Humanity learned this lesson through millennia of conflict. We hope to help other species learn it without paying the same price we did. The tactical display showed collective rescue ships approaching the disabled vessels. The crews would be retrieved, the ships towed for repair. Not a single life had been lost. The rogue commanders thought they could prove humans weren't invincible, Mara mused. Instead, you proved something far more significant. Chen raised an eyebrow. Oh, that advancement isn't just about technology. It's about wisdom, about choosing how to use power, not just having it. Merit's scales shifted to show deep respect. They attacked because they feared your strength. They'll remember this because of your mercy. Across the collective, news of the incident spread rapidly. But it wasn't tales of human military superiority that dominated discussions. Instead, people spoke of how humanity had demonstrated power through restraint, strength through mercy, and advancement through wisdom. It was a lesson that would reshape the collective's understanding of what it truly meant to be an advanced civilization. The collective's premier research facility had never been so crowded. Representatives from every member species gathered around displays showing data from the recent confrontation. But instead of studying weapons capabilities, they were analyzing something far more intriguing: the underlying philosophy behind human technology. Dr. Lyra, the facility's lead researcher, manipulated the holographic display with her energy tendrils. Look at the elegance of their defensive systems, she explained to the assembled scientists. Every technology they demonstrated was designed to protect, disable, or redirect, never to destroy. It's as if their entire technological development followed a completely different path than ours. Ambassador Chen had agreed to attend the analysis session, along with Dr. Sarah Palmer, the Horizon's chief science officer. Palmer stepped forward, her movements careful in the facility's lower gravity. You're not wrong, Palmer confirmed. Earth's harsh conditions forced us to develop robust defensive technologies early in our development. But it was our mistakes that taught us the most valuable lessons. The hologram shifted to show Earth's history: wars, environmental disasters, near-extinction events. The collective scientists watched in fascination as humanity repeatedly faced catastrophe, adapted, and emerged stronger. Your species survived all this? Asked Krill, their bioluminescence pulsing with disbelief. Most civilizations would have destroyed themselves. We came close, several times, Palmer admitted, but each crisis taught us something crucial. Our wars showed us the futility of pure destruction. Environmental disasters taught us to work with natural systems rather than against them. Near-extinction events demonstrated that survival depends on cooperation, not competition. Dr. Lyra manipulated the display to show the horizon's defensive systems. These quantum field manipulators, they're based on principles we theorized but could never implement. How did you solve the coherence problem? Palmer smiled. By stopping trying to force quantum states to conform to our expectations. Instead, we learned to work with the natural fluctuations of space-time. It's the same principle we apply to most of our technology now. Cooperate with natural laws rather than trying to dominate them. The revelation sparked intense discussion among the scientists. The collective had always approached technology from a perspective of control and manipulation. The human approach of adaptation and cooperation opened entirely new avenues of research. Meanwhile, in another section of the facility, Security Director Mera met with the commanders of the rogue ships, now released into her custody. Their scales showed shame, but also confusion. "I don't understand," one commander admitted. "They could have destroyed us. Their technology is centuries ahead of ours. Why show mercy?" "Because they've learned something we haven't yet," Mara replied. "True strength isn't about the ability to destroy. It's about having that ability and choosing not to use it." The commander's scales shifted to a thoughtful hue. During the incident, when their defensive systems activated, it felt like the laws of physics themselves were working with them, not just their technology. "Exactly," came Ambassador Chen's voice as she entered the room. "The universe isn't something to be conquered. It's a dance partner. The more we work with it, the more it works with us." In the facility's Cultural Exchange Center, another kind of understanding was developing. Artists from both civilizations collaborated on new forms of expression, combining collective light sculpting with human music. Philosophers engaged in deep discussions about the nature of progress and power. "Your approach to advancement is fascinating," noted Vex, who had joined the philosophical discussion. "You don't see technology as a means to overcome natural laws, but as a way to better understand and work with them." "Nature is the greatest teacher," Chen replied. "Earth taught us that fighting against overwhelming forces is futile. But learning to dance with those forces, that's how you achieve the impossible." The discussion was interrupted by excited calls from the research section. Dr. Lyra's team, working with human scientists, had achieved their first successful quantum field manipulation using the cooperative principles Palmer had described. "Remarkable," Vex observed. "In just days, we've made advances that would have taken decades using our old approaches." "Because you stopped trying to force solutions," Chen explained. "You started listening to what the universe was trying to tell you." As news of the breakthroughs spread through the facility, Mara noticed something extraordinary. The fear and suspicion that had prompted the rogue attacks were being replaced by something else. Genuine admiration and respect. Not just for human technology, but for the wisdom behind it. "We thought we needed to prove ourselves against you," she told Chen. "Instead, you proved we had everything to learn from you. Not because you're more powerful, but because you learned to use power wisely." Chen smiled. "And we have just as much to learn from you. The collective's experience in bringing different species together peacefully, your artistic achievements, your philosophical insights, these are treasures humanity is eager to explore." Across the facility, humans and collective members continued their exchanges, each discovery leading to new questions, each answer opening new possibilities. They were building something unprecedented, a partnership based not on fear or dominance, but on mutual growth and understanding. It was, Chen reflected, exactly the kind of first contact humanity had always hoped for. Not a contest of strength, but an opportunity for both civilizations to become something greater than they could have been alone. 1 year after first contact, the Valerian Collective's Central Space Station had been transformed. Where once sterile corridors housed rigid protocols and cautious diplomacy, now humans and collective species mingled freely in shared spaces designed to accommodate all biology types. The station had become a living symbol of what different species could achieve together. High Counselor Vex stood in the newly constructed observation dome, their crystalline form reflecting the spectacular view. Outside, a joint human collective engineering team was testing a new type of quantum shield generator. The technology combined human insight into quantum fields with collective expertise in energy distribution. Beautiful, isn't it? Ambassador Chen joined them at the window. Your engineers thought of applications for the technology that we never considered. Because we see things differently, Vex replied. That's what makes this partnership so valuable. We don't just share technology. We share perspectives. The shield demonstration was impressive. Instead of creating a rigid barrier, the new system adapted to threats like a living thing, redirecting energy with subtle efficiency. It was neither purely human nor purely collective in design, but something entirely new. In the station's research wing, Dr. Palmer worked alongside Dr. Lyra on an even more ambitious project. They were developing what they called harmonics technology, systems that worked by amplifying natural universal frequencies instead of forcing artificial ones. It's revolutionizing everything, Lyra explained to a group of visiting dignitaries, her energy tendrils dancing with excitement. From medicine to space travel, we're achieving results we never thought possible by working with natural laws instead of against them. The advances weren't limited to technology. In the cultural sector, human artists had learned to manipulate collective light sculptures, while collective musicians composed pieces for human instruments. Philosophers from both civilizations collaborated on new ethical frameworks for advanced societies. Security Director Mara, now head of the Joint Defense Initiative, had perhaps changed the most. We've completely redesigned our approach to space security, she explained during a council session. Instead of building bigger weapons, we focus on better understanding and communication. The humans showed us that true security comes from cooperation, not intimidation. The former rogue commanders had become some of the strongest advocates for human collective cooperation. Their experience of being met with mercy rather than destruction had profound effects on collective military doctrine. The humans could have dominated us through force, one commander testified. Instead, they chose to elevate us through knowledge. They showed us what real power looks like. In the station's diplomatic hub, Ambassador Chen met with representatives from a newly discovered spacefaring species. The newcomers were understandably nervous, their tentacles writhing with anxiety as they faced representatives from two advanced civilizations. "Welcome," Chen greeted them warmly. "We're excited to learn about your culture and share what we've learned from our own journey among the stars." The newcomers relaxed visibly as Chen and the collective representatives explained their cooperative approach. They had expected to find empire building and power politics. Instead, they found civilizations dedicated to mutual growth and understanding. "This is how we break the cycle," Vex explained later. "Instead of each species fighting their way up a hierarchy of power, we lift each other together." In orbital shipyards around the station, the first joint human collective vessels were taking shape. They weren't warships or simple exploration vessels, but something new, harmony ships, designed to study and work with the fundamental forces of the universe in ways neither civilization had imagined before first contact. "Look at how far we've come in just 1 year," Chen mused, watching the construction through the observation dome's windows. "Imagine what we'll achieve in a century." "That's what impresses me most about humans," Vex replied. "You always look forward, always imagine greater possibilities." "We learned that from Earth," Chen explained. "On a world that constantly challenged us, we had to believe in better possibilities to survive. Now we get to share that belief with the galaxy." As if to emphasize her point, the quantum shield demonstration reached its climax. The combined human collective technology created a display of controlled energy that rippled through space like aurora borealis. It was more than a defensive system. It was art, science, and cooperation made visible. Ships from dozens of species gathered around the station to witness the demonstration. Each had their own story of first contact with humans and the collective. Each had found their own way to contribute to this growing partnership of civilizations. "We're not just sharing technology or resources," Vex observed. "We're sharing dreams. Every species brings their own vision of what's possible, and together we're making those visions real." In her quarters that evening, Chen sent her regular report back to Earth. She smiled as she composed it, knowing that humanity's long-held hopes for peaceful contact hadn't just been realized. They'd been exceeded. The galaxy was transforming not through conquest or competition, but through cooperation and shared wisdom. The future that took shape around the station wasn't one of human dominance or collective control. It was something far more profound. A future where different species came together not to overcome their differences, but to celebrate them. To learn from each other, grow together, and reach for possibilities greater than any could achieve alone. It was, Chen reflected, exactly the kind of future humanity had always dreamed of finding among the stars.